I should know. I put it there.
Stuck inside his ship, the Horisont, Captain Anderson orders his men to free the vessel from the ice so that they can reach their destination in the Arctic. But in the meantime, he suddenly hears a nearby blast that immediately draws his attention. He and his men approach the source of the sound, only to discover an injured man with prosthetic legs lying unconscious on the ground. And before they can react further, they hear a loud, terrifying roar echoing across the icy landscape, prompting the men to quickly carry the injured man aboard their ship and arm themselves for whatever may be approaching. Sure enough, a giant human-like creature arrives, and the men open fire. But the bullets have little effect on the enormous monster, and within moments, it takes down 6 men with swift, brutal blows while demanding custody of the injured man, whom it calls Victor. Right then, one of the sailors brings out a larger gun and manages to blast the creature off the ship. Enraged, it attempts to overturn the ship, but Captain Anderson shoots the ice near its feet, breaking the ice sheet beneath it and plunging the creature into the freezing waters. The next morning, inside the captain's cabin, the injured man awakens and introduces himself as Victor Frankenstein, and when asked about the monster, he reveals that it is his unkillable masterpiece. Intrigued, Anderson asks for more details, and this is when Victor begins recounting his story. Victor and his parents lived in Geneva, Switzerland, and his mother belonged to a wealthy family, which prompted his father, Leopold Frankenstein, to marry her for status. As expected, their marriage lacked love, and Leopold treated her harshly even while she was pregnant, frightening the young Victor to the core. Under the strict supervision of his father, Victor progressed in his study of medicine, hoping one day to become a surgeon like him. But despite his efforts, Leopold continued to treat him with cruelty even for the smallest mistakes. One day, while mother and son were peacefully playing cards, Victor's mother suddenly felt immense pain and went into labor, prompting Leopold to take charge of the delivery. Victor helplessly watched from outside the room, and tragically, his mother did not survive after giving birth to his younger brother, William. This incident shattered Victor completely, as if a vital part of him had been torn away, and he blamed his father for failing to save her. Leopold coldly responded that no one could defeat death, and this ignited a fire within Victor, who vowed that one day he would conquer death itself. That night, he had a vivid vision of a dark angel who promised him command over the forces of life and death, prompting the young boy to pledge allegiance to his new god. Soon, a revolt erupted in their family plantations, leading to the loss of most of their property and ultimately the death of Leopold, who was killed while trying to suppress the rebellion. Now orphaned, the brothers parted ways, with William returning to their relatives and Victor pursuing his obsession with defeating death. The narrative shifts to an adult Victor, who is now seen delivering a lecture in a medical college, where he demonstrates his latest invention, half a human body assembled from different corpses. He revives the corpse through electrical stimulation of the nervous system, and to everyone's shock, it catches a ball thrown at it, seemingly proving that Victor has restored life. However, the professors ridicule him, accusing him of cheating God, and Victor defiantly retorts that perhaps God is inept, and it is up to mankind to determine the boundaries of life and death. This demonstration is witnessed by a man named Harlinda, who later visits Victor's home. His niece is William's fiancée, and Harlinda introduces himself as an admirer of Victor's work. Harlinda reveals that he possesses a secret scientific ingredient that could change Victor's experiments forever. Until now, Victor had used the central nervous system to circulate electricity through the body, but Harlinda explains that using the lymphatic system would allow the energy to circulate, store itself, and promote rapid healing, thus creating a being far stronger than any normal human. Victor is thrilled, and Harlinda offers his vast resources to aid Victor in exchange for a mysterious favor. Just then, William and his fiancée Elizabeth arrive, and Victor is immediately captivated by her beauty. She turns out to be quick-witted and mocks him for staying indoors conducting bizarre experiments, commenting that brave men fight in wars while foolish men hide at home. Soon, Harlinda takes Victor to a newly prepared laboratory, a towering structure where Victor employs William and several men to assemble the required equipment. One afternoon, while walking through a marketplace, Victor spots Elizabeth preparing to enter a confession booth. Curious to know her secrets, he disguises himself as a priest and enters the booth, but she easily sees through his disguise, forcing him to reveal himself. Afterward, they share lunch, during which Victor is surprised to learn that Elizabeth is fascinated by the study of insects, finding miracles in the tiny complexities of life. Their bond grows, and Victor invites her to a dance, hinting at their blossoming attraction. Meanwhile, William follows Victor's instructions precisely and successfully completes the laboratory setup. One evening, Harlinda notices Victor's growing closeness with Elizabeth and warns him to finish the experiment within a week. Victor tries to speed up his work, but during one of his sessions, Elizabeth visits him, and he takes the opportunity to confess his feelings. She gently refuses, stating that choice is a divine gift and the seed of the soul, and she has chosen William as her partner. Heartbroken, Victor attempts to regain focus, and just then, a brilliant idea crosses his mind: to place the energy-storing batteries near the lymphatic system. To his delight, the corpse responds to the charge, giving Victor hope that success is near. He retrieves numerous fallen bodies from a war-torn battlefield and uses their parts to create his masterpiece, a tall, muscular body assembled with precision and connected intricately to the lymphatic system. After days of intense labor, the body is ready, and that very night, a massive storm approaches. Realizing the opportunity, Victor sets up the lightning rods and positions the body beneath them. When he calls Harlinda to witness the historic moment, he discovers that Harlinda is gravely infected with syphilis. To Victor's horror, Harlinda reveals his true intentions. He demands that Victor transplant his brain into the nearly completed body, allowing him to live indefinitely. Victor is disgusted, refusing immediately, since the disease has already reached Harlinda's brain. Furious, Harlinda threatens to shut down his experiment, and a violent struggle breaks out, and then, this happens. The storm draws nearer, and lightning strikes the conductor, charging the body with immense electricity. But to Victor's dismay, nothing happens. In frustration, he slams his fist onto the corpse's chest and collapses onto his bed, blaming the Dark Angel for abandoning him. The next morning, Victor awakens and, to his surprise, finds the human corpse standing upright near his bed, mimicking his movements like a newborn child. Taking on the role of a parent, Victor teaches him his first word, Victor. Gradually, he introduces the creature to simple experiences such as water, sunlight, and mirrors. He cares for the creature daily, attempting to teach him new words, but to his disappointment, the being only repeats, Victor. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and William visit the tower, and a disheveled Victor welcomes them. Hearing faint noises from the basement, Elizabeth investigates and discovers a giant scarred man bound in shackles. Shocked, she assumes Victor has tortured him, but he clarifies that the creature is his invention. Surprisingly, Elizabeth becomes intrigued and visits the creature at night, and it takes a liking to her, even gifting her a leaf and learning to say her name. Victor reprimands her for approaching the creature alone, but she argues that the being is pure, untouched by greed or jealousy, and insists that Victor treat him with compassion. Victor later confides in William that Harlinda is dead and blames the creature for his death. The two decide to keep this secret from Elizabeth and plan to take her to Vienna. But Elizabeth was smart enough to understand that something was off and hence decides to return to the tower. Sure enough, Victor is seen dousing the place with gasoline and has chained the creature, intending to burn everything down and end his creation's life. As Elizabeth arrives, the entire tower erupts into flames, severely injuring one of Victor's legs. The scene then cuts back to the present, where the creature climbs aboard the ship and bursts into the captain's cabin. Just as it is about to kill Anderson, Victor surrenders and offers his life in exchange for the captain's safety. But instead of inflicting harm, the creature reveals that it wishes to tell its side of the story. It narrates how, after seeing the fire engulf the tower, it had called for help, only to realize that Victor had abandoned him. Willing to save itself, using brute strength, it broke the chains, escaped through the sewers, and plunged into the ocean. Miraculously, the waves washed him ashore, and for the first time, he witnessed the outside world. He marveled at deer and other animals, but was soon shot by hunters who mistook him for a bear. To his surprise, his body healed instantly, but he felt cold and sought shelter in a nearby house, where he quietly observed a kind old man teaching his grandchildren. Longing for companionship, the creature secretly gathered firewood for the family at night and repaired fences for their sheep. The family, unaware, left him small gifts like food and clothes, and for a brief time, it seemed as if the world and the creature were finally at peace. But one day, wolves attacked the family's sheep, and the creature learned a brutal truth. that the strong prey upon the weak, and that the world would destroy him simply for existing. To protect themselves, the adults left for the mountains to hunt the wolves. This gave the creature a chance to approach the old man. Though terrified of human judgment, he stepped inside the room, and the old man welcomed him with kindness, offering food, warmth, and companionship. He introduced the creature to books, starting with the story of Adam and Eve, and for the first time, the creature felt happy. The creature spent peaceful days reading and witnessing snowfall for the first time. He confided in the old man about his lack of identity and his yearning to know where he came from. The wise old man urged him to seek the truth, which led him back to the ruined tower, where he found Victor's research and learned the horrifying reality of his creation. Heartbroken, he returned to the old man's house, only to find wolves attacking the poor man. He fought them fiercely, killing several and driving the rest away. He finds the old man lying on the ground, injured, and helps him on his chair. He reveals that he has found his origin and how he was created from experiments. But the kind old man still accepts him as his friend, and with this, takes his last breath. When the family arrived and saw the creature with the dead old man, they assumed he had killed him, and chaos followed. The creature was shot to death, but hours later, he awakened, realizing he could not die, no matter how much he wished for it. Envy filled him. Envy toward creatures whose suffering ended with death, while Victor had cursed him with eternal life. The scene cuts back to the day of William's wedding, where we see Victor putting on his prosthetic leg. The guests were busy partying, and we see Elizabeth still mourning the death of the creature while holding the leaf that it gifted her. Back inside his room, Victor finds his windows open and soon senses the presence of his creation. It reveals himself and demands Victor to create another one just like him. He craves for a companion and expresses his wish to spend eternity with someone. Victor vehemently denies his request, and this makes the creature so angry that it throws him from one corner of the room to another. Hearing the commotion, Elizabeth rushes to his room, only to find the creature still alive. With a smile on her face, she expresses her happiness to see him alive and well, but Victor retrieves his firearm, and this happens. William soon arrives and tries to stop it, but it throws him aside, hurting his head in the process. Post this, the creature takes Elizabeth out of the house, and a dying William confesses to his brother that he had always feared him more than anything, and calls him the true monster. With this, he takes his last breath, and an infuriated Victor chases the creature with his gun. Meanwhile, Elizabeth confesses to the creature that she has always longed for something that she cannot tame, and in the creature, she has found that something. She expresses her sadness of not being able to spend time with it anymore, and also expresses her joy of passing away while in its presence. Victor soon tracks him down and chases him with his weapon. The chase continues for days, and one such day, he manages to light up a dynamite, willing to put an end to his creation for once and for all. But even the explosion of dynamite was not enough to kill it, as it regenerated too fast. The explosion hurls Victor in the air, and this is when Captain Anderson had found him. The scene cuts back to the present, where Victor begs for forgiveness and expresses his regrets for his deeds, and to our shock, the creature forgives his creator. Victor requests the creature to say his name one last time, as it was the first word that he had uttered after birth. The creature abides and calls him by his name, Victor, and kisses the dying Victor on his forehead, bidding him farewell. And with this, Victor too passes away. Captain Anderson, having heard the entire story, decides not to fight anymore, and allows a safe passage for the creature. As a token of gratitude, it pushes the ship away from the ice, into the waters, and the crew rejoices with the hope of returning back to their homeland. The movie ends with the creature, now free from its creator, standing alone as warm sunlight touches his cold body, and silently hopes to begin a new life, perhaps one that finally feels human. Thank you for watching. If you like this recap, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And please don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel.